Well, the war on basically debanking us continues, but we've been shown a bit of a light. We haven't talked about this. Unfortunately, we were a bit sick for a little bit, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But what's going on right now is between what has happened with Steam and IO, what's going on in Japan and all that. Well, a wrench has been thrown into Visa Mastercard situation and banking and payment processors as the Trump administration issues an executive order that will protect people from being debanked. But before we start, I just wanted to step by for this moment and do a little housekeeping. First of all, don't forget to drop a comment, a like, share, and hopefully today's the day of earn your subscription. We're about 1370, I think, right now at the moment, and we're rising. Hopefully we'll get to 2000 by the end of the year. Now, the thing is, right now at the moment, we are going to be taking a little bit of a sabbatical. Now, we will be putting out shows for the next couple of weeks. It will be light. If you noticed last week, we didn't put any shows up. Unfortunately, both me and my wife, we caught a nasty case of the flu, a real bad one. And we're still recovering from it. And we decided that both of us, that we'd take a little bit of time to ourselves to stretch back and to basically try to run the course on itself, not stress us out, relax, take a bit of a sabbatical to the point, and start back up in the fall to that point. So basically, we will be going on vacay, sort of a self-vacay, but do still continue to watch. We will have new and current videos going on. We have done a slew of videos in advance, and we will be putting them out accordingly. Also, be sure to check out Sci-Fi for Me, which will leave the links in below, description below. Also, Sci-Fi Snobs channel for the latest on this over the Babylon 5 retrospective, which I will be appearing in about maybe, was it episode 9? I'll be appearing by the time you get this, and which was last week, and we'll probably be doing one or two more in the coming before the fall hits. So thank you again, those of you who have been watching, commenting, liking, sharing. Please continue to do that. Just hang in with us. A lot of things happen. Once again, thank you, and continue watching. Well, we'll read this off of XBiz. Once again, Trump administration issues executive order against debanking. The White House on Thursday issued an executive order. This was 2 Thursdays ago. Sorry, I found it on there. Ability to restrict access to financial services for people or groups involved in lawful industries, a longtime goal of the adult industry and advocates and stakeholders. This is a very welcome news for anyone who works in the industry. Free Speech Coalition posted on X shortly after the order was announced. Titled Guaranteed Fair Banking for All Americans, the order states that the financial institutions have engaged in unacceptable practices to restricting law-abiding individuals and businesses' access to financial services on the basis of political or religious beliefs or lawful business activities. And before you say that yes, that does include gaming. That includes gaming. That includes anime. Anything that's on our side in the United States. But I believe this will put these companies on notice, even though they're going to continue to do this until an actual law is on the books here in the U.S. And then other countries like Japan will follow in suit. While the order makes it clear that the Trump administration is mainly motivated by protecting conservative and right-wing people and groups from debanking, the adult industry stands to benefit as well. The order prohibits banks, savings associations, credit unions, or financial services from restricting access to accounts, loans, or other services based on a customer's lawful business activities that the financial service provider disagrees or disfavors for political reasons. And they say risk management to that point, that they'll say like, well, it's a risk. We can't. That's all you do. That's your business. You take risks. But the thing about it is, you sit there and you put to the point where you listen to people like Collective Shout or NOSC, and basically, say like, it's going to hurt our business. It's not going to hurt your business. It's nothing to do with basically the illegality, but you're dealing with the legality of the business itself. It's legal. The business is legal. The person who has the account is legal. In other words, they're doing nothing to violate the law to that point. And we've discussed this before. We've discussed this before in the adult industry. We had on someone who was an adult star that basically, at first, they were okay with it. And this was Wells Fargo. And, Wells Fargo was okay with it at first. And then they started closing people's accounts that were in the industry. And we're talking people, this is not someone who just opened their account just about a couple of weeks ago or something like that. This is someone who's had an account with the bank for over 30 years. And the bank decided, well, you become a risk situation and we're closing your account out. Reading on, the order notes that the victim of the debanking has suffered frozen payrolls, debt, and crushing interest and other significant harms to their livelihood, reputations, and financial well-being. Such practices are incompatible with a free society and the principle that the provision of the banking services should be based on the material measure and justifiable risks to that point. Remember, this is to the point that they were even trying to debank the President of the United States. Think about that for a minute. That they were trying to push situations, and they said, oh yeah, that basically, he took out all these loans and he lied and stuff like that. And, some of the banks came back and said, no, never happened. Never happened at all. And then you have other people, whether they were reporters or they were head of a political group, that they had their account shut down by Chase. Chase Bank is another one that's, in this situation as well, where they've shut down people's account for that reason. They say, it's a risk situation. What risk? How do you know that they had an account on there and who they are and, what they represent? You don't sit there and say, what's your political affiliate? Are you a reporter? Are you a conservative? Are you are you religious? Do you like anime? Do you like pornography? I mean, this is not something that a bank should be asking, to that point. What I do in my business legally is my business. That's correct. It is. You don't sit there and judge this. Well, we're going to have to close your account out because we just don't like your business. We don't like what you do, the type of business you open. My money is the same color as everyone else's. If I have a legitimate business, I should be treated equally like everyone else. I draw money into your bank. You make money off of my money. Is that you have those that basically have gotten either into the institutions that are causing this, or they have the ear of those who are part of radical groups that have damaged this situation. And some of them are not even in the United States. Collective Shout, another group that has been situation, and now they're drawing back. Oh no, we didn't cause that. We didn't do that to that situation. But meanwhile, you were bragging earlier that you were. So either you did it or you didn't do it. But this is, and I'll tell you honestly, this is just a stepping point. There's still needed legislation. There needs to be a complete banking bill put in front of Congress, that basically has to be sent to the president to be signed. A law that basically that truly protects the account holders, those using payment processors, like PayPal, and for those who are basically making money through sources that basically are supposed to work with payment processors, and they're shutting them down for those same reasons as well. It's across the board. It's a lot of legislation that has to be done So we're not at the end of this war yet. It's just starting. I said we are at war. I said this about a couple of weeks ago. We're at war. So, we're going to continue on to this situation. Stay the course to this point. Continue to contact these payment processors. Let them know that, you're upset to this point. Don't stop. Continue. Be nice with it, but let them know that basically they are wrong to this point. And hopefully, that they'll come with a law on this end. And of course, guys in Japan, in that government as well. So once again, drop a comment, a like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button on there. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great summer. The show will be returning back in the fall on there in September. So thanks again, and bye-bye now.